Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the Heir of Carthage coming to you from Warhammer 2, where this is a replay from some multiplayer battles that we did on one of my community streams. This particular one that you're going to be seeing here was what we call an AI partner battle, and this was a team version of it. I'll slow it down and give you a quick rundown. Basically, each player just picks a single lord to support an AI army. So I picked Skrolk. Then as Skrolk, I picked a Rune Lord. Or no, I think my ally had me pick the dwarves for him. I believe that I picked the High Elves. Yeah, I got Emmerich here as my my AI ally, and then my teammate is actually playing as Tenowin, and then his army that he's supporting is the Dwarf army. He wanted me to make sure there was some artillery in there. He's got some Quarrelers, and then there's basically some Slayers and other units. And the way these battles work is you try and pick an AI army that you think the AI will get some damage done with. So sometimes artillery pieces can be good. Plenty of skirmishers can usually be good. The AI tends to suck with heavy cavalry. They tend to do okay with certain single entities. Like here you can see the Omen of Assyrian. And of course I gave Emmerich his Star Dragon in order to try and make him more dangerous. Our opponents are actually once aspiring Amoeba and also Regina. Were a couple of members of my community who joined in this battle. You can see that Regina is playing Eltharion the Grim, so she has High Elf Batman. Probably not a bad choice, honestly, for a support lord. A lot of magic, plenty of mobility, some damage to get done. And then Amoeba is playing as Gelt. Again, not a bad support lord. You can get a lot of damage done. And they have picked the Dwarves and Lizardmen as their allies. The Lizardmen have some Salamander hunting packs. The Shredder of Lustria. This is actually probably fairly often a decent pick for the AI because the AI is not good at focusing these units out. And the Shredder then becomes pretty powerful. However, it looks like one of our cannons is shooting at it at the moment. They also brought some dwarf artillery. There's a cannon and the Goblobber Grudge Thrower. And then they have some dwarf infantry led by Thorgrim. Now remember, Thorgrim is a AI lord, and then the same with Gorok. Gorok is the AI lord. So mostly the spend is in the single entities here. For the Lizardmen, and then also a Skink Priest. Let's hit play. Regina is going to be using Eltharion's Vortex spell here to help do some damage to Emmerich and keep him back. You know, remember, Emmerich is AI controlled, Eltharion is human controlled, Balthasar is human controlled, Skrolk is who I am controlling, and Tehenowin is who my teammate is controlling. So those are the four lords that are under human control. Everything else you see is going to be AI controlled just for the sake of insanity, which is why we did this. And it tends to be kind of fun. So the gyro bombers are either. Here comes a burning alignment. This one's actually from a human-controlled player here, getting a nice burning alignment. However, the AI moved some of its troops at the last second, so it did avoid them some damage. But Tehenowin's going to get into combat, and you can see that this battle is getting hot and heavy real quick. Now, Skrolk, I brought him because he has a lot of area of effect damage, and then his Liber Bubonicus is really good against single entities, and I use that on Eltharion. And Eltharion, being controlled by Regina, knows that she has got to get after these Sisters of Avalorns and guns, and so she is attempting to do that. I'm hesitant to engage Eltharion with Skrolk, because it's a big risk. Balthasar has been final transmutating me, and it hurts. And so, yeah, anyway, the mainline fight is underway. You can see Eltharion, again, trying to get after all these skirmishers. I was hoping the skirmishers would turn and shoot at Eltharion, who is now healing a lot. But they are not. So I'm going to go ahead and take Skrolk forward. I can't really chase Eltharion at the moment. I'm just going to have to hope the skirmishers turn around. Emmerich is a tough unit, and I was hoping he would get into some good combat, and right now he is. He's fighting the Skink Priest and the Gyrocopters up in the air. So the AI making a big mistake, throwing those units at AI Emmerich, and the Omen of Assyrian also going to join in, so that bodes well for my team. Power bar is still pretty close at the moment, though. You can see I got Skrolk up here. I brought the Rod of Corruption and Liber Bubonicus because I knew that Skrolk could potentially cause a lot of damage to blobs and, like I said, single entities. You can see Eltharion is unfortunately getting some damage done, and our skirmishers just won't pay any attention to him. This is the AI, right? They could have easily melted Eltharion, but they won't do it. And then here comes Balthasar to help Eltharion, so I went ahead and brought Skrolk back here. Again, this is risky, but like I feel like I've got to do something to stop these units back here, and so I'm trying. It's just not working. Emmerich, in the meantime, has dive bombed into enemy infantry, being supported by Gotrek, and so this is really boding well for my team at the moment, with Emmerich helping to get all that damage done in that fight. And finally, some of my skirmishers decide to turn their attention to the units that are attacking their fellows, and Eltharion becomes the receiver of some of this attention. You can see that the guns and so I don't know what made the AI finally change its target, but it did. And thank goodness it did. The Omen of Assyrian is chasing Balthasar now too. It's very fortuitous. The Liber Bubonicus was ready, and so I get that off on Eltharion, and this is a good opportunity for me to try and shift the tide of this battle. Tehenowin is pretty beat up, but is still fighting for us. See some Chameleon Skinks. The Shredder of Lustria was handled. Our skirmishers may have gotten a hold of it earlier. I didn't quite catch all of it. But you can see Eltharion actually gets routed at this point. And so Skrolk was successful in keeping Eltharion out. Emmerich has done a very good job. I actually did a Bless with Filth on Emmerich to make him more effective in that melee. So Emmerich was blessed with Filth. Balthasar is now on the receiving end of all my skirmishers, because all the other units are dying, and he's the only target left for them to look at. But look at the power bar. Like, it's still like kind of halfway. So you can tell that the power bar thinks a lot about Gorok, Balthasar, and Thorgrim, because it is making a substantial difference in where the power bar sits. Now, Gorok is a tanky unit. He is absolutely tanky, and you can see him in here with Thorgrim turning away some of our infantry, even still this late into the battle. I do not have any more uses of Liber Bubonicus. You see Gorok getting his resistance, Balthasar trying to stay away from the Omen of Assyrian, and you can see that there is still some dwarf artillery that's firing back here, though it's about to be assaulted by Tehenowin, led by my teammate here, who's trying to shut this down, but he's also under fire from the Salamander hunting pack, and that hunting pack will get the better of him, given the opportunity. So Emmerich dives into combat and starts fighting away with Thorgrim and Gorok, and it actually starts to turn in my favor. Gotrek was in here as well, supporting, but Gotrek took a beating in the process. But we managed to rout Gorok, and that actually starts to tilt the power bar. And this was a fun fight. I had a good time with this one. Amoeba and Regina, I think, brought some interesting armies and interesting lord picks, and there were pretty heavy casualties on both sides. And then, of course, I wouldn't have thought to bring Lord Skrolk, and I probably wouldn't recommend him as one because he lacks the mobility. But he does have a lot of good support, like the Rod of Corruption, Liber Bubonicus, his breath spells, vortex spells. I mean, Skrolk does have a lot of support capability. He's just a little bit squishy in melee, and obviously would be slower to move around the battlefield. That is obviously the risk with bringing him. But I do think this one was fun to play. Let's take a look at the stats here with Skrolk. I managed to get 3,054 value, which I was pretty happy with that. Tehenowin came in at 1227 with JJR Boys, who is my teammate. Emmerich did very well at 3225 and really pulled most of the weight for the High Elf ally army I had. Only one of my Sisters of Avalorn actually paid off, but the other ones did at least draw attention. And then as far as the Rune Lord army that was built for JJR Boys, he wasn't able to get a ton of value with his AI army, though Gotrek, I think, had a pretty respectable performance. And these gunners right here also had a nice performance. And then when I look at the other units, pretty good job from the cannons and the organ gun as well. And I think some of that damage went into the Dread Saurian, which might be why I managed to get some points. So not bad overall for the Rune Lord. Let's take a look at Balthasar with Amoeba. 2546, which I think for Balthasar is pretty good. Able to get some work done in Regina with Eltharion. Limited to 1852, which was fortunate for us, because Eltharion is certainly capable of inflicting a lot more damage. Take a look at Gorok here at 1592. The Shredder of Lustria just wasn't able to get the damage done. I think there was enough skirmishers and artillery on our side that it managed to limit the Shredder, but I have seen the Shredder go off in this game mode before when the AI isn't competent at dealing with it. I think that my team was very fortunate that the Shredder did get dealt with in this battle, because if not, like I said, these units will just absolutely go off, as you would imagine they would whenever they're not properly countered. The enemy Dwarf army got some nice work done with its artillery. Taking a look at some of the value on the other, Storgrim not so much, and then the same with the Rune Lord. Gyrocopters didn't end up great. Some of them were fighting in the air with Emmerich, so it just didn't turn out well. But again, that's the craziness of this game mode, right? You have to rely to a certain degree on the AI doing something sensible, and you just never know if the AI is going to be doing something sensible. In any case, this one was fun, and I hope you all enjoyed it too. I wanted to record this. It's been too long since I had battles on my channel. I'll try and get some more out. We had a fun multiplayer stream last night where we kind of did like you pick an army and bring it into a 1v1 contest, and you just keep fighting if you win. And it was a lot of fun. I forgot to save the replays from it, but we're going to do it again next week, so keep an eye out for that announcement, and I will try and save some replays from that. Otherwise, I'll go out and solicit some replays, and then I've got some other content planned for you in terms of things that we can show off in Warhammer 2. But until then, I will see you soon. HeirofCarthage, signing out for now.